For 13 long years, Cole Marston lived the life of a man carved out of dust and silence, a widowed cowboy raising two daughters alone on a ranch tucked beneath the blood-red cliffs of Red Mesa. He had learned to speak more with his eyes than with his voice. Dawn to dusk, he worked the land the way a man fights for the last pieces of himself, fixing fences, herding cattle, mending roofs, and shielding his daughters from a world that felt harsher since their mother's passing. Clara, the eldest at 17, carried a quiet fire, the type that reminded Cole brutally of his late wife. Emma, younger and softer, still believed the world had magic. They were the only reason he rose every morning. But loneliness had a way of creeping back, settling behind his ribs like a cold stone. Then came the day everything changed. Clara and Emma returned from the canyon with whispers in their eyes and urgency in their footsteps. Before Cole could speak, Clara stepped aside, revealing a striking Apache woman leaning against the doorway, tall, proud, with braids falling over her shoulders like dark rivers. Her deep amber eyes held stories older than the desert itself. "Dad, this is Naya," Emma said, voice trembling with excitement. "We found her injured." The woman's posture was steady, but her breathing told another story. Cole's instincts as a protector surged, yet something in her gaze softened the air around him. She wasn't asking for pity, she was simply asking to be seen. And after 13 years of silence, Cole felt the first crack of something. Returning, something, dangerously close to hope. Naya refused a bed, insisting she sit near the fire with her spear resting at her side, even though her ankle was swollen and her breath shallow. Cole watched her with the wary respect of a man who knew strength when he saw it. Her presence changed the rhythm of the house, filling corners long dormant with an energy that unsettled him more than he cared to admit. Clara and Emma sat beside her like pups beside a wolf, listening as she spoke softly of her travels, how she had been separated from her group, how she crossed the desert alone, how she trusted fate more than she trusted fear. Cole rarely spoke, only nodding, but Naya's eyes flickered toward him with a reading gaze, like she saw the whole history of his grief. Later, when the girls slept, Cole tended the fire, pretending not to notice Naya studying him. "You guard your daughters with your whole spirit," she murmured. "But who guards you?" The question nearly split him in half. He muttered that he needed nothing. Naya shook her head, the firelight drawing gold across her cheekbones. "Even the strongest warriors collapse when no one watches their back." Her words pressed against old wounds he thought had healed. There was something about her, something fierce, something serene, that made him feel both exposed and strangely safe. Before going to rest, she placed a hand lightly over his. "Your daughters brought me here for a reason," she whispered. "Not all reasons are accidents." Cole watched her leave, unable to breathe, knowing this woman was about to pull apart the life he had nailed shut. In the coming days, Naya grew strong enough to walk, but she remained at the ranch, offering help where she could. She moved with the quiet precision of someone raised by tradition, carrying water, weaving rope, teaching Clara and Emma to track footprints in the sand. Cole watched from the distance, wrestling with feelings he had locked away for years. He remembered the night he lost his wife, how the storm swallowed their wagon, how he held her until her final breath. Since then, no woman had crossed the threshold of his heart. But Naya moved like the desert wind, stirring everything he thought was settled. One evening, she found him repairing the corral. "You build walls around your home as you build walls around your heart," she said. Cole bristled, but before he could speak, she lifted a broken plank. "Sometimes walls need help too." She held it steady while he hammered. Their hands brushed. Something inside Cole tightened and broke. Naya stepped back, eyes deep and unreadable. "Your daughters carry your loneliness," she said. "They feel it even when you hide it." Cole froze. She spoke truth, cutting through the silence he lived behind. "You know nothing about me," he replied, but the words lacked power. Naya touched the braid hanging over her shoulder. "I know grief when I see it. It walks beside you like a shadow." Cole swallowed hard. For the first time in years, he felt someone truly saw him, and that terrified him more than any storm. A week later, Trouble came in the form of 3 ranch hands from the neighboring property, men with too much whiskey and too little honor. They spotted Naya gathering herbs by the creek and circled her like wolves. Cole was repairing a gate when Clara ran up breathless. "Dad, Naya needs you." He sprinted down the hill, arriving just as one of the men reached for Naya's braid. What happened next felt like a lightning strike. Naya moved with a speed that stole the air, twisting his wrist, flipping him into the dirt and driving her knee into his chest. The other 2 lunged, but she spun like a storm, knocking one down and pinning the other with her spear's blunt end. Cole froze, not at the violence, but at the fierce roar that escaped her, ancient and wild. When the men scrambled away, cursing and stumbling, Cole approached slowly. "You could have killed them," he said. Naya's breath was steadying as she replied, "A warrior protects. That is all." Cole's anger melted into awe. "You're not just traveling alone," he said quietly. "You're running from something." Her eyes flashed, the fire he'd seen earlier returning. "I am running toward my destiny," she corrected. "Not away from danger." The wind carried her words into him like an arrow. And for the first time, Cole wondered if fate had brought her not just to his daughters, but to him. That night after the girls slept, Cole found Naya standing beneath the stars, her silhouette framed against the silver moonlight. He joined her, feeling strangely grounded by her presence. "Why did you really leave your people?" he asked. Naya closed her eyes, breathing in the desert air. "My clan expects me to choose a mate who strengthens alliances," she said softly, "but my spirit has never bowed to obligation. I want a partner whose heart speaks to mine." She turned to him. "A warrior's spirit can live in a cowboy, too." Cole felt his throat tighten. "I'm no warrior," he murmured. "I'm a man trying not to fall apart." Naya stepped closer, so close he felt her warmth. "Then let me hold the pieces." Her hand brushed his chest, gentle. Grounding, electric. Cole felt the world tilt. "I can't ask my daughters to accept another woman," he said, voice cracking. "They already accept me," she replied. "They brought me to you before you were ready." The truth of that cut deep. He leaned against the fence, trying to steady himself. But Naya stepped closer again. "Your heart is not buried," she whispered. "It is waiting." Cole closed his eyes as her fingers traced the scar along his jaw. Let it breathe again. And for the first time since his wife's death, he allowed himself to want something, want her. But wanting was dangerous, and Naya was a storm he wasn't sure he could survive. 2 days later, the ground trembled under a dozen approaching horses. Apache warriors rode into the valley, their spears glinting in the sun. Cole stepped forward instinctively, shielding Clara and Emma behind him. Naya's face hardened into something ancient and fierce. The man leading the warriors dismounted, tall, authoritative, with the bearing of a chief. "Naya," he said, "you were meant to return weeks ago." She straightened. "I go where my spirit leads." His gaze flicked to Cole. "And it led you to a cowboy." Cole stiffened, ready for conflict, but Naya lifted her chin. "My path is mine to choose." The chief's expression darkened. "Your choice affects all of us. We need you." Naya stepped closer to Cole, standing at his side. "They need me," she said. "But so do they." She gestured to Clara and Emma. "And so does he." The chief's jaw tightened. "Then you must decide now. Your people cannot wait." Cole's heart hammered, fear twisting inside him. He didn't want to lose her, not after everything she had awakened. But he also refused to chain her spirit. "Naya," he said, voice low, "you deserve a life that's yours, even if it takes you away from here." Naya looked at him, eyes shimmering, not with sadness, but with certainty. "I know where I belong," she whispered, "and I will prove it." Night fell heavy with tension. The Apache warriors camped nearby, waiting for Naya's decision. Cole sat alone on the porch, staring into the desert. Shadows, wrestling with the fear of losing her. He had loved once and lost everything. Could he survive losing again? When Naya approached, her steps were sure, her presence calming the storm inside him. "I have lived by duty my whole life," she said, "but the spirits guide me now, and they whisper of a new path." She knelt before him, taking his rough hands into her own. "You are a man who loves fiercely, even through silence." Your daughters shine because of your strength. And I, she breathed deeply, I want to stand beside you. If you will have me. Cole felt the walls he built collapse in a single breath. You deserve a whole man, he whispered, not one held together by old pain. Nia leaned in, pressing her forehead to his. Then let me help you heal. His hands rose, trembling to her face. For the first time in 13 years, he kissed a woman, slow, reverent, breaking every lock he had placed on his heart. The warriors watched from afar, silent, and when the chief approached, he saw the truth shining between them. Then stay, he told Nia quietly, with the man you have chosen. And just like that, the desert wind carried away the last barrier between them. The dawn after Nia's choice was brighter than any Cole remembered. The Apache warriors left peacefully, offering blessings instead of warnings. Clara and Emma embraced Nia as if she'd always been part of the family, laughing as she braided their hair and taught them songs in her native tongue. Cole watched from the doorway, arms crossed, heart fuller than he ever believed possible. When Nia approached him later, she slipped her hand into his without hesitation. Your home has many rooms, she said, but it held too much emptiness. Cole pulled her close, resting his forehead against hers. Not anymore. Together they rebuilt the ranch, stronger fences, warmer fires, louder laughter. Nia became the soul of the home, teaching the girls courage, guiding Cole through the cracks in his heart, helping him rediscover joy without guilt. At night, she curled into his arms beneath the desert stars, whispering stories of ancestors and vows of a shared future. And Cole, once a broken cowboy, became whole again. Not because she saved him, but because she chose him. Red Mesa flourished with new life. A lone cowboy no longer walked its fields. A man with a warrior woman, and daughters who believed in miracles, now lived there instead. And in the quiet glow of each sunset, Cole would hold Nia close and whisper, "You were the storm that brought me home."